Welcome back to the channel, fellow ballers. Now today we're going to be talking about the Gripen, and in my last video I talked about how it's going to be added in the next major update. Mark my words. And the reason I say the next major update is because there's only one more major update in the year left, right? So it only makes sense if they add the Gripen then, right? So, and Gaijin has confirmed that the Gripen is being added this year, so it only makes it sense that's in the next major update. But what missiles could we see on the Gripen? What radar missiles, infrared missiles, that sort of deal? Because when they add this, they want to balance it in whether they add the A or the later models. Because I've heard rumors that they're going to add the later models. I don't think that's such a good idea, but we'll see what Gaijin does. So, in terms of missiles, the first missile we will be talking about is the Raytheon AIM-9 series. Yep, the same company that made the microwave made the deadly AIM-9L and AIM-120 AMRAAM. Now, the Gripen could carry the 9M, the 9L, and I'm assuming the 9X, since they're pretty integratable. Plus, the Ukrainians were able to fit certain missiles on their MiG-29s. I wouldn't see a problem with the Gripen being able to carry different AIM-9 types, right? So, yeah, this is the first missile. This is the most basic one. Now, this is worst case scenario, right? Gaijin adds the Gripen with just AIM-9Ls, maybe even AIM-9Ms to give it a slight buff. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, they add radar-guided missiles to this bird. And there's a great example of a jet in-game that only has IR missiles that does an amazing job at shooting down other aircraft. And that is, of course, the Israeli F-16. Now, this jet is the jet inside the B-roll footage that I'm showing right now. And it carries the Python missiles now in the latest update, of course, and it does perfectly fine. I had no problems with this jet. Sure, it didn't have radar missiles. There were certain scenarios where I couldn't hit targets. This is a great example of how they can add the Gripen. Just give it AIM-9Ms or AIM-9Ls, and it could carry 6 of them. And the other 2 missiles they listed were the IRST and the A-Darter. Now, the A-Darter is a pretty interesting missile. That thing pulls really hard, and the thing could do a 360 and hit a target sort of deal. It's a really nice missile. I don't think we'll see it for a while because it's so good at what it does. But a good thing to note is it was used by South Africa, which means we could technically get a South African Gripen. You can maybe put it in the British tech tree, or you could just give the British a Gripen, because they did use 2 Gripens, I believe, for training purposes. So technically speaking, we could get a Gripen in the Swedish tech tree and the British tech tree, maybe as an event vehicle, of course. But yeah, those are the 2 missiles that, or 3 missiles that are all infrared that Gaijin could add to the game. Another missile we could see is the AIM-120. Now, the AIM-120 is a really good radar missile. It is a Fox 3, so you can launch this and forget about it. It'll track its target. You can use it in TWS like the Phoenix missile, and it will do its thing, no doubt. Now, this is a really good missile, and it's quite maneuverable. The problem with adding this is it's going to oversaturate the air, and a bunch of people are going to get, team killed. There's going to be stray AIM-120s flying everywhere. But they could introduce maybe a limited payload on the Gripen, giving the Gripen a little slight advantage. Once they release it, they could be like, hey, look, farm the Swedish tech tree. It has AIM-120s. It's the only country that has them for a couple updates, and Gaijin tends to do that a lot, so I don't see why they wouldn't do it here. It has an operational range of 27 nautical miles, at least the A, B, and the C, and they have a really good kill box around 10 miles, which is pretty insane. So let's say you launch this at 10 miles, it's almost impossible to dodge. That's the problem, right? So you can notch, notching actually works pretty decently. When you launch these within 10 miles, you need to turn the other way and start burning. You need to run away because the missile is pretty darn fast and could catch you. If you're not running away, bam, you're going to get hit. Even if you start turning and stuff, you're going to have to notch or crank the missile to defeat it. And that will be a pretty cool feature for warthunder players to learn, because I feel like they sort of know the lingo of how to notch and crank missiles, but not every player does it, because sometimes you can just fly super low to the ground and the radar missile will miss, or you can just start notching the missile and most radar missiles will just lose track. But the AIM-120 and a lot newer missiles, they usually have countermeasures for that and will still track their target. So you literally have to turn around, go cold, and run away from the missile. That'll be a pretty cool feature to see Gaijin add. You could sort of do it with some of the missiles in the game, but the AIM-120, you sort of have to do it to survive. This missile goes really fast, around Mach 4, so that's a pretty cool missile they can add to the Gripen. Would it be overpowered? Maybe, but maybe if they had the A model, they can take some liberties, of course. Now, the next missile we'll be talking about is the Mika missile. Now, this is a radar plus an infrared missile that goes on a lot of French aircraft, but the Gripen also carries it. So this could go on some of the Mirages we have in the game, and it can also go on the Gripen. So this would be a cool missile to add to the game because it was made in 1996, and it does have a max range of 49 miles or 62 miles, so you know, that'll be a bit of a problem. But the Phoenix missile has an extremely long range, and that thing is garbage. But unlike the Phoenix missile, this thing turns pretty darn good. It can also pull a super good amount of Gs because it uses thrust vectoring coupled with high maneuverable fins. So this thing's pretty darn maneuverable. It'll be pretty tough to dodge. And if Gaijin really wanted to add this missile, I believe they're going to add it as an IR missile first before they make it a radar missile, just because it's a little overpowered, of course. I mean, come on, a thrust vectoring radar guided missile, it's going to break the game. But if it's an IR missile, you know, you could flare it, you can use certain countermeasures to dodge it. I suppose if it is a radar guided version of the missile, you could just fly low enough to the ground where it doesn't hit you. And that's also another problem I will talk about in another video, because if you fly low enough with any radar missile, it will always miss you. Note it if the altitude of the map is low. But yeah, the Mika missile, definitely a cool missile they can add. It has low smoke as well, so you can't see the missile as well when it's traveling towards you. I don't think we'll see this missile the first time they add the Gripen, but it will definitely be added to the... And last but not least, we have the Meteor missile. Now, this could pull 40 to 60 Gs, which is a bit much, just a tad. So, it's a stretch, okay? This is a very big stretch, and it's a very new missile as well. It uses a ramjet, which is kind of cool. So this has a maximum range of 110 miles and a no-escape zone of 32 miles. So, yeah. Oh, nautical miles, my bad. And then it also goes Mach 4. So, yeah, I don't think we'll see this missile for a while. But it is cool, and they potentially could add it to the game if they want it to break the game. I would love to see the Meteor missile, at least for an April Fool's event, at the very minimum. But eventually we'll see it actually added to the game, mark my words. Give it like 5 years, 3, 2, it'll be added to the game with the current rate we're going with modern aircraft. But other than that, I think that concludes all the missiles that they could potentially add to this, besides air-to-ground weapons and, you know, cruise missiles, that sort of deal. I might do a different video on that. But other than that, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for making it to the end. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Every subscription does help, and we're trying to make 200,000 subscribers. So other than that, make sure to join the Discord, and take care, guys. You better stay safe. Stay safe.